Hi, I'm Evelyn Thurston, and I'm here with Simon Napier-Bell. Simon Napier-Bell is a music manager, author, and filmmaker. His songwriting in the 1960s led to a #1 hit for Dusty Springfield and then for Elvis. He's written 4 best-selling books, directed 4 major documentaries, including the brand new George Michael Portrait of an Artist. Thank you so much, Simon, for coming on and talking to us today.
My pleasure, absolutely.
So you were Wham's music manager during a really important time for them when they were trying to get out of a really intense contract. I'd love to hear just some either funny stories or just something that you experienced working with Wham, especially George Michael.
Well, I mean, it was all fun. Well, it's the thing about management, it can be fun and oppressive and difficult, but afterwards it's fun looking back on it. They came to me just after they'd started. They'd had 1 hit and they were fantastic. I'd never seen any group debut on Top of the Pops as good as that. And I had a partner at the time and we both said, let's try and get that group. So we found out how to contact them, we called them. And then when they came in my flat, they were the complete opposite. George and Andrew were different people, totally different people. That was an image for live. And George was cautious and wanted to know things and wasn't going to jump in the deep end of anything. And Andrew was cool and didn't really care about anything.
They were really just such a dynamic duo, and it definitely shows how much time and effort you put in trying to break their contract, because you knew they were going to be worth it. And
they had a terrible contract when they came to us. They had this awful contract with a little round the corner local record company, and it paid them no royalties on 12-inch singles. Now, this was the period in history when 12-inch singles were what every single group sold. They extended the single track to about 6 minutes. They made it into a dance version. They put it out on colored vinyl, so a 12-inch single would be on blue or red or green vinyl. And that's what sold. They sold 12, 15 million 12-inch singles. And the contract said no royalties on 12-inch singles.
Wow.
So they had no money set.
In the documentary too, I think it's really showing how much work ethic George Michael had. And, he had this very bubbly, bright personality, but his songwriting was something that I was super, super surprised by. I had no idea that he was the songwriter that he is.
Well, I think he surprised everybody after Wham.
Yeah.
Because he went on and on and on producing fantastic songs.
Yeah.
And always with really clever, thoughtful lyrics. He very applied himself greatly to writing songs. They didn't just fall out of his head. I mean, 1 or 2 did, but mostly he sat down and he worked and threw out bad lyrics and put in good lyrics. He was a songwriter, an artist, a performing artist, brilliant on stage. But I think he actually looked at his whole life as a piece of art, as a rise and a fall and a story to be told. And that's what I wanted to do in the film. To tell his story in the same way you tell a story of Van Gogh or Rachmaninoff or any other real artist.
Is there anything in the future that we should look forward to?
Got a book out, which I wrote then. It was about managing Wham and taking him to China and everything. And that's just come out this week in America. It was published in England 5 years ago. It's just been published this week in America. And it's a great detail about Wham and George and everything which went on. And that's called I'm Coming to Take You to Lunch. Okay. And that's everywhere now, Amazon or Barnes & Noble and everything. And so if you build more on George and want to learn more, the book will tell you more as well.
That's amazing. Yes, more information about the amazing George is always welcome. So thank you so much for joining us today. And yes, I hope everyone enjoys the documentary as much as I did.
I'm sure they will.